Alrighty, hey guys, welcome to another Q Careers interview. My name is Raphael, and today I'm here with Joy. So we're going to start off with some introductions. First of all, I am a second year student at the University of South Florida here in Tampa. I'm currently majoring in chemistry. Actually, major is biomedical sciences with a focus in chemistry. So my career plan is to go into medical school after my undergraduate years. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself. I was raised here in Tampa my entire life, but I was actually born in Puerto Rico. But yeah, I consider myself Floridian because I've lived here my whole life. So that's a little bit about me. Let's meet Joy. Joy, can you tell us a little bit about where you're from, where you live now, and how you got there?
Yeah, my name is Joy Afolabi, and I go to Texas Women's University. I am a junior and a nursing major. I grew up in Houston my whole life, so that was a really cool place to be.
It's
And
awesome, yeah.
Texas Women's is in Denton, so it's about 5 hours from Houston. And yeah, it's a really great place.
That's cool. Yeah. So you said five. So if you're in Houston and that school that you're in is 5 hours away, how did you find out about it?
Yeah. So honestly, it was really with the help of my high school advisors. I remember just going
Mhm.
them to them all the time, and they were just so helpful in the process. They gave us a list of schools like in the Texas area because I grew up in Texas, and
Right.
also a list of out-of-state schools as well.
Mhm.
And Texas Women's University surprisingly was last on my list, but somehow I ended up at Texas Women's University. And the crazy story behind it was actually my safety school. I was just like, ew, who wants to go to all women's school?
Right.
And that
Yeah.
was my, like. But then again, like if I don't get into any schools, I might as well just apply here. So that was like, my initial thought going into it. So I applied, I got accepted, and then I also applied to other schools, mostly in Texas, like
Mhm.
UNT, which is actually my first choice. There's Salem College, which is another women's school.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, I didn't know what I there, but I did anyway. And that one was in North Carolina, I believe, and then some other schools. And what stuck out to me from this school was that the aid, I think financial aid was like one of the
Yeah.
most important reasons why I chose this school because it was so affordable. It was in state, and my first choice wasn't as affordable as this school, but it was
For
in the
sure.
same city. So crazy. And so it's just like, okay, I think it's in a city that I like. It's in Denton.
Uh-huh.
It's really affordable, and also like it was a small to medium sized school, and I went to a really small school. My high school was 73 students,
Oh wow.
so it would be a really good transition for me, and it was. And I also just love how they care about each student, um,
For
and it's
sure.
not you're not like in a school where it's based on numbers or anything like that. So it's a
Yeah,
great choice.
absolutely.
Like,
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think you and I actually have a little bit in common. So for me, it kind of my story was my high school was huge. Like I think 4,000 students went there. So definitely not on that part. We don't really. But in terms of my how I got to my university, like I said, University of South Florida. We're in Tampa. Definitely like a less popular, still a kind of big university, but much less popular than the school I'm sure you've heard of, which is University of Florida, and that's in
yeah,
Gainesville, and that's like kind of the holy grail of our state, like the biggest, best university. And like it was the top of my list the whole time, like same. And then University of South Florida was just the same. My safety school, like I live like literally 20 minutes away from here. So for me, it was never like, oh yeah, I'll go. Like I never even thought of it. I applied as the backup, like you said, and wound up going here. And for the same exact reasons, like I remember taking my tour at Gainesville for the University of Florida, and it's like such a the school is so much bigger and you just don't feel as connected to the university. And I came here and the people, right? Wasn't it the same for you where like the people were just like, they brought me in and they were like, yeah, I can answer this question and that question. And I mean, financial aid, this and admissions, that. And it was so like connecting. And I loved that feeling coming here versus going to UF where they did their best job, but like it's just with such a big population, it's so much harder to feel like grounded to
yeah,
the school. So I think that's
yeah,
really important for like people to realize is that just because it's a school is like maybe close by or it's smaller, which might be a preference for some people, the school being smaller, but just because it's smaller or like less funded, things like that, it doesn't mean that it can't fit for you. Like it just depends on what makes you better and what makes you feel more comfortable. So that's really interesting. And I'm glad you brought that up because it's something that we have in common, but also something I think a lot of people can learn from. So before we get on to question two, I actually had one thing. You said you're going to an all women's school, right?
So historically, it's all women's, but I believe it was in the 80s when they started accepting men. So right now
Oh, okay.
it's about 13% men, but majority is women.
Right, right.
It's pretty cool. It's still like vibe, but
Yeah,
most
I was.
students are required to take women's stuff. Yeah,
Oh, okay. So a little bit more focus on gender studies and stuff like that.
yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I was gonna say because I mean I've obviously heard of them, but I was wondering like, did you ever have an experience at a co-ed school, and do you know like the difference, or does it stand out better to you? Like, how does that? I mean, because I've never had an experience in an all women's or all men's school. So like, is there any positives about it, or do you find yourself saying, yeah, I'm glad I'm not at a normal university?
Yeah. So I went to a co-ed high school. So
Uh-huh.
um, I just felt at home. I comfortable and like literally no one really judged you on what you wore to class or anything. You felt no pressure and great space to focus. And it was like just a lot of positivity I felt. And like everyone was just so supportive of each other. And I love that about Texas women's. Like when I first
Sure.
came, I was just at first I was a little like worried. I was just like, okay, this is different, you know? Like
Mhm.
I've never been in this atmosphere before, but once like actually going into it, I'm just like, wow, I can really do this.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's obviously really important to go somewhere that you feel like really comfortable. So that's really cool that they made you feel that way. So, all right. So let's go ahead and move on to our next question then. So now that you've kind of settled in, it's your third year at Texas Women's. Have you been able to find like any resources within the university that help you with finding your career? You said you're in nursing, so the next 2 or 3 years you're looking into graduating and getting into a nursing job. So is there anywhere in the university you can go for some solid help on what to do?
Yeah, so definitely academic advisors. First off, I know at Texas Women's, they have you meet with your, like, it's required that you meet with your advisors or you
Uh-huh.
can't like register for classes. So I think that's like point one for being able to have that contact with those advisors because it's so important. And I think they help you keep on track to your goals and
For
your
sure.
aspirations as well. And I know there's a lot of resources that I'm so thankful for Texas Women's because they were very open about telling us about all of them. But I know for like even like counseling, you get 12 free, what is it called, classes or so
Uh-huh.
on counseling. And like just so many different opportunities that they give to students. I know we have free Right Site. You can go there to tutor. They can view your essays and things like that and so many programs that help students develop their skills and also
For sure.
there's a lot of career workshops and job fairs on campus. Like I even got an email this morning about a career fair that's happening. So I was just like, wow, like the school is
Oh,
really
good.
on top of making sure that all the students are sure of what they're doing and succeed in what they're doing.
Yeah, that's awesome, and that's really cool that the university or the college like actually reaches out to you. So you said like you got an email, and they reach out to you. So that's really cool. Um, yeah, I know for me there at this university, I'm not sure quite how big is Texas Women's like a huge. You said it's kind of a smaller college, small to medium. You said
Yeah, small to medium. It's about 13,000 students.
okay,
Yeah,
cool.
it's steadily growing.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I know my school, I think would fall under medium, maybe. I'm not sure what the number is, but definitely smaller than University of Florida, which I mentioned earlier. But yeah, but no, same thing here. We have, I think because it's a little bit bigger than your school, definitely a wider variety. What I really like about this university and what it has in terms of its career guidance centers and stuff like that is like there's so many different categories. So like, you know what I mean? There's advisors for like medicine, but even within medicine, there's like nursing, and then there's, if you want to go into a specific field, you can be like neurology advising. Like it's super, super specific, and I think that that's really important because the majors are so broad, but for someone that is taking this major to become an anesthesiologist is so different from someone that's taking this major to become, a cardiologist, like all these different things. And so this school, what I love about it is that it caters to each and every one of those kinds of peoples. So is there anything like that in your school where like you can kind of get super specific, or is it kind of just general? I mean, not that being general is a bad thing, but what would you say about yours?
Yeah, I remember in my school that like when we first came in, they had this program called LOC, and I know that for LOC, it was a specific like nursing cohort where you can just come in and basically we would have they paired you. You would actually have dorms with the same people that are the same majors as you, and
Oh,
that would
wow.
also help with that advising process. And like they even had it for, I believe it was like theater cohorts that are LOC. And they would have different floors, and you would be basically your roommates and the people around you on your floor would be the same major as you.
That's
And you
awesome.
would get advised by someone who is the same major as you as well. So like they really do a good job in like helping students find out what they're passionate about and how to go about that. So I
Sure.
really appreciate this helping us with that.
Yeah. Were you ever a part of one of those LLCs, or was that just something you heard of?
Yeah, I was a part of the nursing LLC. My roommate was a nursing major, and my whole floor was in
Yeah.
nursing. And so we studied together. We did everything together. We Googled
Right.
things together. We did everything. So it was a really nice experience.
There you go. That's awesome. And I'm sure it just adds on, spending so much time with people that are also doing what you're doing, it just adds on to what you can learn about how you're going to take your next couple steps. Because of course advising is one part, but if you have friends and peers that are doing the same thing and you can all do it together, it just makes it that much easier. So that's really awesome to hear about. Um, Yeah, so let's move on to the next question. So nursing, that's definitely a popular, up and coming field. I know for sure, definitely in my area, nursing is one of the most popular kind of like majors or programs you can go into. But for you, how did it come about that you knew you wanted to do that? How did you kind of land on that decision?
Yeah, definitely. And so when it came to that, it was more so like process of elimination for me. Like I was
Mhm.
like, okay, so I'm taking this music class right now, and I just I'm not rhythmic. I just can't, it doesn't make sense to me, and I'm not passionate about this.
For
Or
sure.
like when it like theater or things like that, or just like or history. I'm like, I can't, I can't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. When it came to like nursing, and like I knew I wanted to be a part of some type of health profession, but what
Sure.
exactly I wasn't sure. And so just being able to shadow people that I knew that were nurses and like their experiences and like how they talked about their patients and things of that nature, I was just like, wow, like this is a field where I can make a big impact on people's lives every single day. And I was like, that's
Yeah.
something that I want to be a part of.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's really impressive that you were able to get shadowing done early on, because I think that's something that a lot of people overlook, especially, I'm glad that we're both kind of medical fields, so we can really bounce off of each other. But yeah, it's especially important in the medical field to get some hands-on experience, face to face with like what doctors and nurses or whatever it may be are doing on a daily basis. Because believe it or not, coming into your first or second year university, there are a lot of people that watch Grey's Anatomy and are saying, all right, this is what I'm going to get when I become a doctor or nurse, but it's really, really different. And so it's super important to get, face to face with what we're doing every day, because it can really change or enhance, your perspective on what you think you'll be doing when you finally land that job outside of college. Um, so are you completely set on nursing? Any chance that you might change or adjust or adapt, or is nursing like you're 100%, I'm down for this?
Yeah. So honestly, I feel like with life, I'm a very open-minded person. So if there
Yeah.
is like something where it's like, well, like there's a new opportunity up, or like there's this job that I can get with my degree or something that I am passionate about at that moment, then I feel like it's possible for me to change. But I know I'm for sure passionate about health professions.
Yeah.
Maybe nursing, I don't know, it could or could not be, but I feel like health is something that I'm really passionate about. Interacting with people is something I love doing. And so far, I see that with nursing, but is it possible that I can change? It's possible. So,
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. Yeah, it's good, like you said, that you're keeping an open mind because, yeah, sometimes things change, and I don't think it's ever, I don't think ever changing your major or your path, even as late as in your third year, like you are, I don't think it's ever a bad thing. It's
yeah.
actually like incredibly smart. If you can sit there and kind of look at yourself and say, well, where I'm going isn't exactly where I want to be, that's totally fine. Like you're on the right track because you're finding what you want to do. And some people just kind of get bogged down in completing the classes because like they're stuck in it. But no, you can definitely change whenever you want. And so that's awesome. So let me get on to the next question. Well, first of all, some background. So this organization, Q Careers, kind of works with what's called associations. And so before I go on with that, do you know what an association is?
Yeah, it's like a group or a program that like collabs, I guess, something like that.
Yeah, no, definitely on the right track. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, an association basically, a lot of companies and corporations or kind of groups of professionals come together and they create these associations. And the goals of these associations is to reach out to people like us that are in their undergraduate university years and inform about the fields that they're, professionals in. So, for example,
Yeah,
all of the when you hear that definition, it seems kind of foreign. But if you've heard of the American Heart Association, that's an association.
yeah,
If you've heard of, I think it's APA, American Psychologists Association, that's an association. So these associations sound familiar to people because, yeah, that's what they're exactly what they're doing is trying to reach out and provide as much information as possible. And so Q Careers is trying to be kind of like a middleman to that. So the goal of this, I guess you can call this organization, is to establish interviews with people that are in associations, with experts in the field, and gather as much information as we can and disseminate it to people that are in our position. So imagine how much information we can have. Of course, like you have the advisors at university and stuff like that, but if you get it from someone in the field, someone that spent their life's work, um, you know, creating, innovating, and thinking about the problems that face their profession, and we can ask them questions, that's how you can get the best information. So that's the idea of this organization. Um, what do you think about that? Like, is there anything, do you think this is the best way to learn about kind of professional fields, or what do you think?
I think it's really important because a lot of people have this like idea or some type of notion of what a job can be
For sure.
or career can be, but at the end of the day, you never know until you're there. And I
Right.
think also being able to bridge that gap is very important, especially with students. And this like time is so critical and like being able to see what like classes you can take or what majors like and what those majors can actually offer you. And so being able to see like the jobs or careers that can come out of that, I think is super important, and also helpful for students.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love the way you said it, bridging the gap. I think that's exactly what we're here to do is just bridge the gap from what we think is going on to what actually is going on. Love the way you said that. So let's move on to our last question. So back a little bit more to you, and then we can extend on to some advice for some students. So going into your third year now, I guess you have maybe a year. I'm not sure specifically for nursing how much time in school you'll have left. Um, but do you have a plan in terms of like any internships lined up or any shadowing, any more shadowing, or are you looking into now getting your career set? I don't know. Just give me an idea of like what maybe the next 2, 3, or 4 or 5 years might look like for someone like you.
Yeah, so I'm definitely thinking currently right now, seeing if I can do like a CNA position and just get that out of the way because I know that would be very helpful on my resume when I do start applying for nursing jobs.
For sure.
So being able to have experience, I think that would be really helpful just being able to have that on my resume and sharing that experience with people.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's important. Yeah, a resume. Always thinking about that. I know for myself, I'm in my second year, so kind of the first year I spent focusing on getting like volunteering and stuff out of the way. I don't want to say like simple stuff, but the requirements. And the second year, I'm kind of buckling down on the academics. And then yeah, my third and fourth year, I definitely want to get involved in shadowing and learning a little bit more about what it would look like if I do land a career somewhere down the line. So um, for sure, yeah. And then I do want to ask one question. It's not on the list, but I've been asking this to everyone that I've been interviewing as a kind of like a fun question. So you're definitely further ahead than I am. So as a third year now, if you were to talk to Joy, as she's a senior getting through her final year of high school, is there a letter, if there was a letter you would write and you had to give her an idea of what these next 3 or 4 years would look like, any advice you would have for her, any like secrets, things like that, what would you say to senior year of high school with Joy?
Yeah, I think this is actually a very important question.
Right?
This senior year, Joy was very, very stressed. She was like, oh my gosh, how do I balance school and applying to colleges?
I'm sure, yeah.
Um, yeah, so during that time, I just tell, well, I'll just tell myself now to pass Joy, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
to calm down. It's gonna be all right.
yeah.
Life
Right.
works out somehow, and everything happens for a reason. There's no reason to stress. Go step by step, breathe in, breathe out. Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's so much chaos going on that senior year, but like, just it's gonna happen. It's gonna fall into place. You're exactly right. Yeah, I think that's probably the best answer I've heard because I remember myself. I was like freaking out. I was like, how am I gonna get all these application essays done in time? I have to send my financial aid information to like 6 different schools. It was crazy. But yeah, just take it step by step and get and just knock everything out, and it'll definitely happen. So Joy, it was so much fun talking to you. Thanks again for taking the time out of your day. I know we'll both probably be super busy, but yeah, thank you again, and good luck for the rest of your studies.
Thank you. Thank you.
All
You
right,
too as well.
thanks. All right.
Bye.